The National Executive Committee of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, has confirmed the appointment of the immediate past governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, as national chairman of the party, and Senator Bashiru Ajibola as national secretary. NEC took the decision at its 12th meeting held yesterday in Abuja. Ganduje thanked President Bola Tinubu and promised to hit the ground running. He also promised that internal democracy will prevail in the party during its tenure. Meanwhile, APC's National Legal Advisor, Ahmed El Mazouk, earlier resigned from the party's National Working Committee, NWC. El Mazouk resigned his appointment on Wednesday following insistence by some of his colleagues that he could no longer be in office due to some allegations against him. Joining us now from Abuja studio to discuss the change of leadership in the ruling All Progressives Congress is Senator Saliu Mustapha, the senator representing Kwara Central District at the National Assembly. Senator Mustapha, thank you very much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. Well, quickly, Senator, matters arising from latest developments in your party. The president attending the National Executive Committee meeting and reassuring the family, if I may use that word, that the 2023 election that brought the APC back to power is the most credible ever in the history of Nigeria. And then, of course, the emergence of Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, former Kano State Governor, as chairman, promising internal democracy. Well, will he be able to ensure that internal democracy, the lack of which had led to exits and entrances within the National Working Committee of your party? And what should we expect from the new leadership? Governor Ganduje, former governor, and Senator Ajibola Bashiru.
Well, thank you, Dr. Abati, and other colleagues of yours there. From the speech of the national chairman yesterday, Dr. Umaru Ganduje, he has made it very clear that he is going to entrench internal democracy. And the number one ingredient of administering a political party is to make sure you give everybody a fair hearing, you give them opportunity to express themselves, and you also make sure you give everybody a sense of belonging. That is the key ingredient in managing a political party, because you are going to be managing different human interests. And for me, I believe APC is waxing stronger. People expected that after the election, the party will have crumbled. But I can assure you, the party is bracing up for the future. I have been in the party administration before. I know what it takes to manage a big family like APC. And I can assure you, it's only going to get better. You saw the very democratic way we came about nominating and also appointing, or for Dr. Ganduje to have accepted the nomination. It shows that we are very democratic. The leadership of the party, right from the president downward, are adhering to democratic principles. So all I will wish is that people should give us an opportunity to carry out a proper rebranding of the party, and some of the promises the chairman has made yesterday, whereby he said he's going to bring about a progressive institute and also make sure that we start planning for the future. So I believe we're on the right track, and I know we're going to make it.
All right, Senator Mustapha, let's talk about what has been touted as an opportunity for true reconciliation. You also talked about internal democracy within the APC. And even though you say that the APC is standing strong, despite what people had thought would happen, there's still concerns around its fragile state at the moment, especially with different wings, the very recent issue with the former APC chairman with regards to appointments, regards to some parts feeling marginalized, more concentration on the Southwest has been alleged. How will this, what does reconciliation look like? How would he begin to repair internal democracy or build internal democracy so that APC can remain strong?
Being somebody who has been part of reconciliation committee before, and I think Dr. Ganduje himself at one time played a key role in reconciling different factions of the party. I'm sure he's not new to this. Like I said earlier, in political party management, the most important thing is giving everybody a sense of belonging. And I'm sure within the party ESCO, outside the party ESCO, we are all looking forward to seeing ourselves together, forgetting our differences, and building the party. Because when you have a stable party with its promises to Nigeria, then the government itself will be up and doing. So I'm sure he's going to set up his reconciliation committee very soon, and then we start having reconciliations around the country. In the past, if you could remember, the former chairman, the Senator Abdullahi Adamu led committee also went around to try to reconcile different factions of the party, and they succeeded in that. And that was part of what gave the party the victory we enjoyed in the last election. And I'm sure we have a template already, which they will go by. So I want to assure you that this time around, like I said, it's only going to be better because we have all agreed to keep our differences aside and look forward to seeing how the party can be greater. Gone are the days where you find people coerced or forced to do certain things that does not go in principle or does not go well with them. Now we have an opportunity to express ourselves and to always agree or disagree as long as we are looking at the interests of the party and the interests of the nation at large.
Okay. Real quickly, you talked about unity, but there are still discordant tunes, even about the emergence of Mr. Ganduje. What they're saying is that Mr. Ganduje is from Kano, Northwest. The person that held that position before from Nasarawa North Central, that the people of the North Central feel that that position has been taken away from them, while those that held the position as National Secretary before, Mr. Yola Mishiri, was from the Southwest Osun State, and that was returned to the Southwest Osun State. What do you say about that?
Well, Rufai, I must tell you, I'm from North Central. And if anybody will be complaining, then it should come from people like us from the North Central. The most important thing I always tell people is that every house, every party has its own internal strategy on how it wants to win elections or how it wants to be seen in the public. So within the APC, for now, what we think is best for us is what we have gone for. Life is dynamic, and tomorrow we can decide to change our strategy so as to be able to win certain demography in the country. So, but for now, I want to assure you there's no discordant tunes. Gone are the days. In this same country, I could remember some chairmen were forced to resign at gunpoint. I don't want to call names, I don't want to call any party, but everybody is aware of that, where a chairman, a sitting chairman, was forced to resign at gunpoint. But we're having a party now where we're accepting whatever flaws we have and we're ready to correct and move forward. And we had a very democratic understanding among ourselves in replacing and nominating who takes over. So I want to assure you, whatever you see happening is with the blessing of the entirety and the entire membership of APC.
Okay, quickly, I had asked you earlier on to comment on President Tinubu saying at that event yesterday, which I assume you also attended, that the 2023 general elections will qualify as the most credible ever in the history of Nigeria since we started having elections 1923. That's one. The second part is that at some point, you had tried to be chairman of the APC, I guess in 2021, but now you are representing Kwara Central as Turaki of Ilorin, occupying Kwara Central seat in the Senate. Do you feel that what you have now is a much better deal than, your ambition previously to be chairman of the party? Those two things.
Well, basically, the president was very right in his assertion that the election is the freest and the most credible election so far. And I can attest to that too, because I was an active participant. And as God will have it, I won my election too. You see, in life, things change and life is dynamic. When I was contesting to be the chairman of the party, I was interested to be the chairman because I felt at that time I needed to help to rebrand the party and to reposition the party solely for the purpose of winning that 2023 election. And as God will have it, we won the election. And I was able to gravitate to the legislative arm, which I won my election to. For now, I want to contribute my experience. I want to add value in terms of the legislative side of government. And I believe that's my calling for now. Tomorrow, if there are other opportunities where we can add value, the most important thing is Project Nigeria. Let us see how we can move this country forward. Let us see how we can all contribute to add value to the well-being of Nigeria and its citizens.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, since you're talking about Project Nigeria, Senator Mustapha, let me use this opportunity to ask you, with regards to the first 2 months in office, the president, who is the leader of the APC and who has commended the emergence of Dr. Ganduje as APC chair. Some people have said that he has his men around him, which is understandable, but perhaps it would upset others or the structures and the zoning formula or zoning arrangements within the party. As Rufai already identified earlier on, that it's not fair, it's not equitable, because he's trying to keep his own men closer to himself and at the detriment of other zones, especially from the northern part. North Central in particular has come up a number of times, and other parts. What would you say about that? How do you think the president has managed to keep the party together, to lead the party in such a way that it is united, it is strong and prepared for the next set of elections coming up later on this year?
Ayo, like I said earlier, he has exhibited the highest level of democratic principles. In this same country, like I said, we've seen where former sitting head of states will force a chairman to resign at gunpoint. We're having a president who has given us the opportunity to sit amongst ourselves, to agree and to disagree on the best way forward. And for me, the last 2 months has been wonderful. He has done very well in managing both the country and the party. And we are not complaining. Like I said, every party, every house comes up with a strategy as to how best it suits its situation. For now,
Senator
Dr.
Mustapha,
Ganduje
Senator
is
Mustapha,
the most qualified person.
all right. Senator Mustapha, let me just come in here so to be a bit more specific so you can speak to that. With regards to his appointments, his support, the emergence of the leaders of the House, the Senate President, the majority leaders of the House, and then now to the appointment of ministers. He has 47 ministers. A number of people said there's some ministers that have come up. We have 3 nominees from Ogun State. We have 2 from Lagos State, 1 each from other states. Is the party satisfied with this position?
The party is satisfied, and the legislature is also satisfied. The most important thing is how well do we make sure we meet up with our promises to the Nigerian people. If the Constitution says 1 minister from every state, he has been able to fulfill that. So if he's having additional hands to make sure the job is done well, I think Nigerians should give him a chance. And he wants the best for us, and he has chosen those he believes will deliver on his goals and promises. So I don't want us to delve so much on that. The most important thing is, can we do better? Can the Nigerian state do better? Can he add value? And from what he's doing now, everybody has been able to give him credit for his swift action in certain areas.
Okay, sir. So a lot of disgruntled people, in fact, they put a finger on it by saying that they are not happy about the cashment politics being played in the APC now. The cashment politics that only favor the Southwest and the Northwest. In fact, some have even nucleated it to Lagos. Anyway, we've been able to question them, but then we'll be able to give us proof. You know, when they came on the show and say, oh, it should spread across the Southwest. But let me give you an instance of this cashment politics people are complaining about. Ministerial nominees by geopolitical zone. The Northwest got 10. The Southwest got 9. The Northeast got 8. North Central got 8. South 7. Southeast 5. Northwest and Southwest. Party chairman of the APC used to be the North Central before, but now it has gone to the Northwest and the Southwest. And this trend goes on and on and on. So people are complaining within the party. And the complaints pretty much were heightened by the likes of Mr. Saliu Lukman, that first was against the emergence of Mr. Ganduje as the party chairman, saying it is best for this thing to remain in the North Central. Senator, you are saying you are not complaining as long as everything is okay. But truly, other people from your region, aren't they complaining?
Well, Rufai, I want you to understand something, that in any position that is available, it's about people coming to serve. I, for one, was even contacted that, am I still interested? And I said, no, let me add value in the parliamentary section I found myself now, or let me add value in the parliament now. And I can assure you, Ganduje was not appointed. He also showed interest because he believes he can add value. Because it is about a call to serve. It's not everybody who is ready to take this, or to carry this big load on his head. He believes he has something to add, or he believes he can serve. So I want us to give him that benefit of doubt, and also give the APC family the benefit of doubt that we are not perfect. Like I said, society is dynamic. Every day, we strive to do better than yesterday. So for now, you can't pinpoint that this is entirely wrong or people from North Central are complaining. No. Those from North Central, let one person come out to say he wanted to be and he was denied. Nobody is coming out to say that. So if we have somebody who has volunteered and who has shown interest, in fact, when I was contacted, some people also said maybe Lalong should be contacted, but you can see Lalong has been nominated to be a minister now. So we have all come out to serve in different capacity. So I think what people should do is they should sit back and give us time to see if we will do better than yesterday, or if we are not going to do better, then people can come out to criticize certain decisions we've taken.
Please,
but I can assure you, the most important thing...
Sorry, please, sir. Please, sir, I have a follow-up. So sorry. I apologize. Please, I have a follow-up. Is it because you were already in the Senate? If you were not in the Senate and you were contacted, would you have taken it?
Maybe I will have taken it because I would be looking for opportunity to see where I can add my value. Now I'm in the Senate. I believe I'm there to represent my people, and let me see how I can add value to the system. Okay. If I were not in the Senate, maybe I would have taken the position.
Of the party chairman, right?
Senator,
Okay.
you've been part of this
Yes.
screening process. And one major criticism has been that, look, that process has not been rigorous enough. Well, we had one of your colleagues here. He was saying, well, some people spoke for 1 hour. We asked them all kinds of questions, but Nigerians generally feel that, look, it's almost like a circus that is going on. What do you think? And then I noticed that you were full of praises for President Tinubu when he became chairman of ECOWAS. Do you think that his move as ECOWAS chairman, talking about military intervention in Niger, if the coup leaders do not obey the deadline that they have been given, do you think that that's a move, considering the fact that now in Niamey and Agadez, we have people coming out to protest, saying, Nigeria Bama Yi, Nigeria Bama Yi. Those two things.
Well, Dr. Abati, let me start with the Senate screening, the ongoing process now. I can assure you it's not a circus. And I can assure you the screening you watch on the screen that's not all. We are receiving nominees, we are looking at their credentials, we are screening them on face value, but the most important part of this process is when we go into our closed-door session, where we will raise issues on every nominee that has been presented before us. And then after that, we go for confirmation. So don't be surprised when you hear that 1 or 2 names were dropped for confirmation. That is where the main screening takes place. We are doing our best, and if there is no need for us to drop any name, we will pass them. So sometimes people expect that the legislature should be confrontational with whatever the executive is doing. No, we are here to work as partners in progress to move Nigeria forward. So I can assure you, maybe for time factor, what you see we are doing, and Nigerians should give us should give us credit. We have been able to jettison our recess. We are sitting today again. Tomorrow we'll be sitting to make sure we take these nominees one after the other. So allow us to finish this process, then let us go in for our closed session, where we will now go for proper screening, where every senator that believes he has an issue with the credentials presented so far will raise those issues. And then if we feel that nominee has passed our screening, we confirm them. So on the other issue, on the issue of the Niger Republic and the unfortunate, undemocratic incident there, nobody is supporting what has happened. But I can assure you, the president, through consultation, is doing the needed and is doing the right thing. Now you can see, as at yesterday, a delegation was sent there. It's part of the healing process of trying to make sure we bring Niger Republic back to normalcy. Of course, the ultimatum that was given was not just President Tinubu's ultimatum. It was the ECOWAS body. And if there are better ways to achieve it even before then, they would. Everybody wants peace. And don't forget, Niger is very strategic to Nigeria, especially towards the northeast part of the country. So we will look for every amicable means to see that we bring Nigeria back to civilization, to democratic tendencies, before any other, I'm sure, military action will be taken.
All right, let me ask a question just with regards to your 2 responses, a few more clarifications, or perhaps just for you to give us more detail. So going to the first, what we've heard a number of times is, we're going to have a closed-door meeting with these nominees, and then we'll do a thorough screening. And then the question begs, but what we saw in public, which should have been an opportunity to demonstrate to Nigerians that this 10th Assembly means business, was done in such, there was such camaraderie between the senators and the nominees. It was just like a little reunion in some instances. And in some cases, even the senators themselves were standing up to defend the nominees who had come to be screened. If this happened before Nigerians, then what would happen behind closed doors, how would that be different? How would it be more thorough if it wasn't thorough in front of people who you're hopefully willing to impress? And then the second question with regards to Niger. One of the agitations, and very quickly, sorry, because of our time, is because of bad governance. Are there some lessons that Nigeria can learn from what has happened in some parts of West Africa, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, in terms of their coup?
On this issue of screening, I don't want us to deliberate too much on it. It's an ongoing process. We're still on it. And I can assure you, we're not taking it lightly. When there are no issues, why do you want us to bring up issues? If somebody comes up for screening and there are no issues pertaining that nominee, then we should naturally not bring up issues. I mean, we should be very critical and objective in whatever we're criticizing. A nominee has come up through the credentials, through the past record, the person has been impeccable. I mean, just like somebody who has appeared before the Senate before for same screening of a ministerial position. The only thing that has added to that person is you try to find out between now and the last position the person held, has there been any infraction in his maybe conduct, or has the person, and like you heard the Senate president said to one or two nominees that you've been here before us in the Senate. What else have you added, or what else would you want us to know about you that was not in your previous CV? So we should, and when you see a senator who has been a member of that red chamber before, being presented for screening, is a tradition, not just a senator, a member of the National Assembly. The most important thing is you tell them to take a leave of the chamber at that point, because we have their record, we know them, and we can attest to their character. Secondly, on the issue of the Niger Republic, I want us to wait and see what the special envoy that went to visit Niger yesterday, let us have an insight on their ongoing discussion.
On that note, Senator.
Because I believe nobody wants...
Well, on that note...
Okay, Dr. Abbas.
We are all waiting. We'll see. On that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Senator Saliu Mustapha, a senator representing Kwara Central and the Turaki of Ilorin, for joining us on the morning show.